Hey there everyone. So if you're new here to the channel, I am constantly searching for jobs, and in the meantime, while I'm searching for a real job, I am trying all of these different app-based gigs. Now I've done Uber and Lyft in the past, and in fact I now work for Lyft for the office, but I just recently signed up for Shipt and Instacart. And they are two similar companies, kind of like how Uber and Lyft do the same thing but look a little bit differently. I kind of think of Shipt as the Uber and Instacart as the Lyft, but you guys can have your own opinions about that. But today I want to tell you a little bit about the sign up process for both of these apps. So if you are thinking about working for either one of these companies, I hope this video helps you out because I didn't find any videos out there about the actual sign up process. I only found videos about how the actual job goes, and I don't know yet because I'm waiting to get my car fixed and I haven't done my first shop for either company. But what I have been through is the actual sign up process, from submitting my information clear through the hiring process in both apps. So I want to tell you guys about that, and if you are looking to sign up to deliver for either Shipt or Instacart, then look down in the description below the video because I do have referral codes for both of them. I'm honestly not sure. I think I get something for it, and I think you get something for it. Not sure exactly what it is that we get, but let's help each other out. With that being said, for those of you who are not familiar with what Shipt and Instacart do, they are both grocery delivery companies. They are app-based, so they're similar to Uber and Lyft in that, but you don't have to have people in your car. You're just delivering groceries. So you would go into the store and get the groceries, and then you deliver them to the customer. Shipt delivers for Target, who I also work for, and for Meijer, in my area at least. In other areas they deliver for other stores. And Instacart does CVS, Whole Foods, which I also work for, although you won't often see them at Whole Foods. I've only seen them there once. And they do, I believe, Kroger as well. I'm not 100% on that. So the sign-on process for these two different apps, they're very different. And I signed up for Shipt first, so I'm going to cover that one first. When you sign up with Shipt, you sign up through their app, you give just a bit of information, and then if you pass that little part of it, then they text you and say, congratulations, you're approved to move on to the next step. With Shipt, you do have to do a video interview process. They send you a list of topics. They're kind of basic interview questions, although they do ask, about you, like your experience grocery shopping as well. But they're not too difficult, and you have to film yourself answering these questions, which for me as a YouTuber, that's super easy. It might be a little more difficult for somebody who's not used to being on camera, or somebody who's not used to filming with their phone. But you can do it easily. It's really nothing to worry about. The questions are not difficult. Just be prepared to tell them why you want to work for Shipt. Some basic things about times where you struggled with a customer complaint and that type of basic interview question, and just tell them about how often you shop for groceries, and do you buy a lot of produce or do you buy mostly prepackaged stuff. So just basic things that you would think as far as what they would need for the job position. After you do that, this is where it took a little time for me. So they make you do a background check, which all of these apps do. The background check then comes back and says that the background check has passed. In my experience, it took about a month and a half to 2 months after my background check was cleared before I heard anything. So from the point that I first signed up, they were very good with communication, staying in communication by text, reminding me actually several times a day by text and by email, hey, do this next step, do this next step. But once that background check was approved, they just went dead silent, and I thought I wasn't approved. And like I said, it was a month and a half or 2 months before I heard anything. And then when I did hear something, It was just a couple days ago, and all of a sudden, I got several texts, several emails, and it was like, congratulations, you're an approved Shipt shopper. And then what they do is they send you a package in the mail, which is going to include this shirt and a Shipt card to pay for the products at the store. They also, at that point, will have you continue filling out your profile on the app. You'll take a picture of yourself in your Shipt shirt, and you're also going to upload your car insurance and enter your direct deposit information. Now, again, I have not done my first shop yet. This is just the sign up process. But let's talk about Instacart for a little bit, and then we can compare the two. With Instacart, I started getting advertisements for it on Facebook after I signed up for Shipt. And that's pretty typical. I can tell you, if you sign up for Uber, you'll start seeing Lyft advertisements on Facebook wanting you to drive for them. So Instacart and Shipt are doing the same thing, competing against each other, getting their drivers from one to drive for the other. And because I did not have any communication from Shipt and thought I wasn't approved, I also signed up for Instacart. Now, I will say that Instacart's sign-up process is much better. It might be a little less professional, but it is so much easier. You literally fill out a form with your information and a few questions, and, well, it's a form through your phone, and that's it. It's like, congratulations, you're approved. I honestly, I was a little confused. I thought they didn't even do a background check, but what ended up happening was that they said, congrats, you're approved, and you can go ahead and schedule your hours, and you can go out and work right now. By the way, we are sending you your payment card in the mail, and they also sent this little lanyard that you're supposed to wear when you go out and do your shops. Now, I had some hang-ups with Instacart because I was excited to get the card, and I watched the tracking number was sent out to me beforehand, and I was excited, and I was waiting for the card. And then on the day that it said it was delivered, it just wasn't there. It wasn't in my mailbox. It wasn't outside my door. I checked in my apartment complex office. It just wasn't there. So I contacted Instacart through the support messages in the app, and I got kind of a blanket statement saying, oh, well, cards take a while to get there. And I said, no, you don't understand. It said that it was delivered today. And I got no further response from them. Even tried to follow up a couple times, got nothing. So probably about a month passed, and I just happened to be thinking about it, and I went back into the app, and I tried to request a new card. Well, it said I couldn't request a new card because I had just recently requested one, which I didn't. I didn't request one. I was getting the original. Anyway, sent another support message, got no response, and then I ended up like a week later going in there, and it just, for some reason this time, it let me request one. So I did get the card in the mail, which is when I got my little lanyard thing as well. And then I signed into the app, and it was letting me sign up for hours. However, now it's saying, hey, your background check is pending. Because I just thought they hadn't done a background check. They hadn't said anything to me about it. So I'm like, all right. And I was surprised that they do let you do deliveries before your background check is put through. They let you put yourself on the schedule or even take shops for that day. And that seemed not quite right to me. But then later on, I received an email saying, no, in fact, that's not the case. If you sign up for a shift and your background check is not done, then you'll automatically, when it gets to that time and day, they'll automatically take you off the schedule. So there wasn't any point in signing up for any shifts at that time, and I waited another 2 or 3 weeks for my background check to be done. Finally, it was done. Finally, I was approved. Now, this is my last, observation about Instacart. And I don't yet know enough about Shipt to really compare it, although it does seem easier to get shops with Shipt uh, than it does with Instacart. Because with Shipt, as far as I understand it, they like you to set hours ahead of time, but you can also grab unclaimed orders from the metro. Whereas with Instacart, you have to schedule sometimes a week or 2 weeks out the hours that you're going to be available, which I don't always have my schedules for my part-time jobs out that far. And then you have to do at least two consecutive hour shifts. I tried to do one and they wouldn't let me do it. They have to be at least 2 hours back to back. So that is probably, well, half of my complaint about that. The other half being that it is very difficult to get hours. I was almost fooled into signing up for hours for a city like an hour or more away, because when you go in there and you have Columbus, which is my city, selected, it'll say, hey, there are hours available on this day. But then when you click on it, it'll just show some hours, and you don't realize that they're not in Columbus. They're in Chillicothe or Cincinnati or Circleville, which are all pretty far away from here. And it seems it's either bad app design or they're trying to trick you into signing up for them, because probably nobody's delivering in those small towns. I don't really know, but it's a very weird way to have it set up, and I was almost fooled into signing up for hours forever away because it's very confusing. But anyway, just watch out for that, because if you don't have any hours in your city, it'll tell you there's hours available and it'll show you the hours available, but just make sure what city those hours are in, because they're not in yours. Now, between the two, between Shipt and Instacart, I loved the process of sign up for Instacart because it was so simple. It was, other than them losing the card and not responding, it was sort of a just a process that was continuous. Whereas with Shipt, there was a big rush to get me signed up, and then I didn't hear anything. Maybe there were too many shoppers. Maybe they had to wait until something was available, but they could have communicated that, and they didn't. So, with that being said, one of the things that I really wish is that with Instacart, you had a better way to sign up for hours. It seems like Shipt has got a system for that is a lot better. One other complaint about Instacart is that Instacart has a way that if you are basically doing this full-time hours, that you are able to skip over everyone else and have first access to the schedule. So the people doing it full-time are able to do that, and there's not hardly any hours left for anybody else. So the sign-on process is different between the two companies, and I found essentially that Instacart had a more continuous, easier sign-up process, although it was a little confusing with the whole when allowing you to schedule hours before you were approved and then they'll cancel them sort of thing. With Shipt, however, the actual interviewing process and approval process was more difficult. I have not had to reach out to Shipt for any issues, because I haven't had any issues with them, although I did think that it was kind of unprofessional to just leave me hanging and not respond for quite a while and just let me think that I wasn't approved. On the other hand, with Instacart, I've already, before doing my first shop, had quite a few issues with a missing card and several messages not responded to by the support team. So when my car is fixed in a month and a half, I'm going to try this. I personally, although I'm a former Uber and Lyft driver, am not going to go back to driving for Uber and Lyft, and that is because I had commercial insurance for doing that, and I don't want to go back to doing that. I don't have a person in my car for doing Shipt or Instacart, so I'm going to try this so that I can make a little money on the side, maybe set it aside to pay off my credit card or a student loan, or even put toward my car payment. I'm going to have that minimum mileage deduction that'll help me with my taxes since I have so much self-employment income. And then on top of that, you know, it's going to be just another way to diversify my income. So again, guys, this only applies to the sign up process, or the hiring process for these apps, if you want to refer to it that way. I have not done my first shop yet for either one of them. But if you would like to sign up as well, down in the description, I do have referral codes for both Instacart and Shipt. And after I do my first few shops, or maybe if I do it and decide I don't like it, I'll make another video following up my thoughts about that. But thank you guys for watching this, and leave any questions down below. Obviously, the longer this video is up, the more experience I'll have in this, and we'll be better at answering those questions. But for now, if you have any questions about the sign up process for them, go ahead and leave them down below.